You know, nothing more frustrating than planning a dream cruise and then making a big mistake that you absolutely should have known better not to make, especially when it ruins something your whole family has been looking forward to for months. The 10 common cruise mistakes I'm sharing here will save you from those facepalm moments that could have been completely avoided and those "I can't believe I did that" mess ups that can ruin your vacation. And if you're new here, I am Kat, and my goal is to help you plan the best cruise possible. So let's go over these mistakes. Number 1 is over planning or under planning. Now, finding the right balance is tricky, but it is very important for enjoying your cruise. I've seen people with every minute scheduled who get stressed when things don't go according to plan. But then I've also seen people who do zero research, so they miss out on the amazing experiences because they didn't know what was available. So my approach is to highlight a few must-do activities each day and in each port, but then leave plenty of room for spontaneity and relaxation. Number 2 is not understanding non-refundable deposits. I see this all the time in cruise groups. People book non-refundable deposits to save money, and then they get upset when life happens and they can't get their money back. And that's literally the whole point of non-refundable. You're trading flexibility for savings. So if you need the option to cancel or change your plans, go ahead and pay the extra for a refundable deposit. And don't book a non-refundable and then expect a cruise line to make exceptions. Number 3 big mistake is not planning for lost luggage. Airlines do lose luggage all the time, and it's just a fact of travel. So if you're staying in a hotel on the beach in Florida, you can wait a day or two for luggage to catch up, but not if you're going on a cruise. So I always pack at least one complete change of clothes. You're talking about underwear and all essentials, and always pack all your essential medications in a carry-on. Now, I've been on cruises where people's luggage on a cruise didn't show up until the next day. So they were stuck buying overpriced clothes on board or going without. So just a little planning ahead can save you from spending your first few days of vacation shopping for basics instead of enjoying yourself. Number 4 big mistake, and it might be one of the biggest ones, is booking the wrong cruise ship or cruise line. And this is where research really pays off. And I've seen so many people learn this lesson the hard way. You know, maybe you booked a party cruise when you wanted relaxation, or you chose a family-friendly cruise line when you were really hoping for more of an adults-only vibe. I always tell people to look beyond just the price and itinerary. Check out the ship's amenities, read recent reviews, and make sure the cruise line's vibe matches what you're looking for. By the way, a cheap cruise that doesn't fit your style is not a good bargain. Number 5, big mistake is booking the wrong cabin location. Location matters more than people realize. And I've stayed in so many cabins that were less than ideal, and they really impacted the whole vacation. So now I've learned to avoid cabins directly below the pool deck or near nightclubs, unless you enjoy listening to rock music in your cabin till late in the evening or deck chairs being moved around at 6 a.m. Midship cabins on lower decks have less motion, and being surrounded by other cabins means less noise from public areas. So those are kind of the 2 big rules, and it might cost a little more to get a better cabin, but the better sleep and the peaceful environment are worth every penny for a truly relaxing cruise experience. By the way, the last 2 points are the main reasons to use a good travel advisor and work with one that actually goes on cruises. If you call pretty much any mainstream cruise line right now, you'll be connected to an outsourced customer service agent somewhere in another country who has never been on a cruise. They know how to make reservations, but they don't have any first-hand experience to help you choose the right cruise for you. Moving on to the next mistake is that's not having proper travel documents. Now, this should be obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people show up without the right paperwork. And with the recent requirement for real IDs to fly in the USA, Some people think that a real ID compliant driver's license is enough to board the cruise, and most times it's not. Most closed loop cruises starting and ending in the US require either a passport or a birth certificate combined with a driver's license. And the real ID has no bearing on cruise boarding. Now, some ports require a passport even though it's a closed loop sailing. And to make matters worse, things change all the time. So the only way to get this right is to go through your cruise ticket contract, where cruise lines will state the documentation requirements, and you can also go to their website for the most updated information. Now, the next mistake seems so obvious, but I see lobster red people on every cruise I take. And you got to think about it. The sun is stronger in the Caribbean than it is in Denver. And when you're having fun and you're on vacation, it's easy to lose track of time. And I've watched people get so sunburned on day one that they spend the rest of their cruise in pain and covered up. So apply sunscreen before you even go outside, reapply frequently, and don't forget that spots like your feet and ears, normal things that don't never see the sunlight until you're on that tropical getaway. The next big mistake is not researching port stops. And on our first cruise, which was our honeymoon, we had no research done. But we also didn't have YouTube and social media like we do now. And we just booked it on a spur of the moment, and I didn't even know that there's such a thing as shore excursions. Thankfully, we met a couple on our cruise that helped us figure out what to do, and we joined them for the activities that they already planned in ports. Well, since then, we've been to ports where we spend way too much on a taxi to see something that was a 5-minute walk from the ship. So now I know better. I research what to do in each port, what they all have to offer, what is the weather going to be like, and what attractions are within walking distance versus needing transportation. So a little homework can save you time, money, and frustration, and make a huge difference of whether you enjoyed a port stop or absolutely hated it. Now, the next mistake is not bringing motion sickness remedies. And even if you've never been seasick before, it's still worth being prepared. I usually don't get seasick, but I always have Dramamine just in case. Modern cruise ships are incredibly stable, but rough seas can happen. And you don't want to spend your vacation feeling miserable. Now, out of about 40 cruises, we've had 2 that were rough enough that I was getting seasick. So it's better to have these things and not need them than need them and not have them. So of course, if you don't pack it, you can always get it from the medical office at about $25 a tablet or something like that. Now, the last one is not buying travel insurance. And I know if you watched any of my videos, I've mentioned that recently, but that is such a gamble that I don't think it's worth taking. I've heard horror stories of people needing medical evacuation that was $50,000 or more. And even something as simple as a missed connection that causes you to miss your cruise can cost thousands of dollars to fix. So travel insurance might seem like an unnecessary expense, but it's nothing compared to what you could pay without it. So from my experience, it's always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And if you want to know more money-making mistakes that could cost you hundreds on your next cruise, then check out this video here where I reveal costly ripoffs that cruise lines hope you'll keep falling for. Thank you for watching.